Captain's Log, Episode 70. This week's episode of the Beer Vengers podcast is sponsored by the Beer and Cheese Collective, located at 35-11 Ditmars Boulevard in Astoria, Queens. Enjoy their eclectic array of craft beer, artisanal cheeses, and specialty grocery items at the Beer and Cheese Collective. On this week's Beercast, Captain, Huck, and the Beer Wonder have 4 great pours, reminisce about the holidays, muse about the upcoming year to come, discuss what we really owe to our pets, and experience an atmospheric river, even if 2/3 of the experience was vicarious. You know, the usual shits and giggles. Remember to like, star, and subscribe whenever that feels appropriate. And send us your emails at thebeervengers@gmail.com if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you just like hearing us talk about you on the show. And now, without further ado, please enjoy episode 70. Don't Google this, kids.
We're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the beer Vengers, we're the beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. We're the beer Vengers.
Welcome to the Beercast, everyone. Coming to you from an undisclosed location in Astoria, Queens, I am Captain Porter Brown Stout.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in Walnut Creek, California, this is the Pale Male Hophead Huck.
And coming to you from an undisclosed location in the County of Kings, it is I, the Beer Wonder.
And we are
The
Beer
Vengers.
Okay, well,
All
last
right.
week we nailed that one.
Last
but,
week it was beautiful. This week it was
They
postmodern.
can't all be gems.
Yeah,
Postmodern.
we,
It's a good way to look at
we've
it.
all been listening. We've all been listening to a lot of like Brian Eno and Philip Glass, and
Yes.
didn't know what come out. Yeah, welcome
Either
to the
way,
Beercast,
it was
everyone.
something.
Yes, it was. It was. It is. It was not nothing.
Yes.
It existed.
It did. Welcome once again to episode 70 of the Beer Vengers podcast.
Can
Beercast.
we just note that we were so polite last week in not making any 69 jokes?
We
Because
really held on.
It's because
there.
we went our best behavior because of our guest. The closest we got to being
Ex-
ribbled was that review of that beer that I read. But I was quoting someone
that
else,
was.
so
It was it was almost spotty.
I was feeling things. I gotta say,
I would hear that again. I would hear that again if you want to punch it up. I mean, that was good. But
Well,
yeah, well, maybe if we run out of things to say, yeah, bring that back.
Yes, that's very true.
I don't know how good it is if the most memorable thing we can come up with is someone else's words, but I'll take it.
No, I will say the provider did. I was so happy that we were able to bring her on and honor her and
Yeah.
like really kind of give her a chance to represent. So yes, also a very memorable part of it. But I do want to acknowledge that yes, last was the 69 and 69. It's a thing. We're technically an explicit podcast, so like, hey,
Yes.
69.
Hey, 69. Yeah, that's Anyway,
it's a sex thing.
so it is. It
So I'm
is a
told.
code. That yes, it looks like what's that? Isn't there an astrology sign that also looks kind of like a 69? There's a symbol for it that I don't know which one it is, but
Yin
maybe it
yang?
is. Maybe it's because of the 6 and the 9. Anyway, we haven't had our pours yet, but we also already had some pours, so that's why we're a little bit loose. But my glass is empty, so
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna unhook up us here. It is just to clear this away. It is the Cancer symbol.
it is Cancer. Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
That's the
which
crab.
makes, I
Yeah.
mean, crab. Yeah, crabs, crab claws.
Sure.
I don't know.
That's how you get crabs.
For coming up with that so quickly, Beer Wonder, I think you should have the first pour. It would only be polite.
What?
Por favor.
What? Oh my gosh!
I
feel so
I
honored.
think it should be you. I mean, do you agree with me, Huck?
Yes,
are
of
we?
course.
All right.
Oh, all right. Well, here's the thing, everybody. I no one's gonna believe this, Captain and Huck. It's a big moment.
Really?
I have a
Sponsored pour.
Yes.
Another
a
sponsored pour. Well, I said another. I forget that you're listening to this a week after the. Anyway, yes, we have a sponsored pour from the Beer and
Yes,
Cheese Collective.
Specifically from the provider at the Beer and Cheese
From the
Provider.
provider at the Beer and
Yes.
Cheese Collective.
Yes, and she did specifically sort of tease this one on the last episode, so I'm excited to actually have it. Again, she knows me so well; she knows I love an IPA, and this is from from Vosburg Brewing. It is the How Lucky India Pale Ale with Mosaic Amarillo and Citra hops, and it has, and Huck, you will appreciate this because I know you currently have one of these. It has an adorable dog on the can.
Oh,
It's a
Very
good
cute.
dog. It's an
Yes.
excellent dog, foreshadowing things to come, but it's an excellent dog.
Good boy.
Yes, very good boy. And I'm hoping the beer is just as good as the boy on the can. It is another 6.5%. Hopefully, I will not be bringing up the averages this week, but let's crack it open and see how it goes.
Vosburg. Okay.
I know. Oh, I got the juice on Vosburg. The apple
Oh.
juice
Ooh.
on Vosburg.
Oh, that's another wonderful tease.
I know, exactly.
All right, let's
here
take
we
a
go.
look. Take a look at
peek.
this. Oh, that's
Oh,
lovely.
oh. It is pretty, right? It's real nice. Got a good head retention, decent protein in there.
Light on the SRM chart, but still,
Yeah.
it got some color for sure.
Yeah.
I know. It's good and a good smelling beer. I can smell it from here, and it's
Lovely
nowhere near
head.
my face. So.
Oh, really nice.
Fantastic. All right.
All
Great. Captain, you want to rock out, or you want me to go?
Well,
ahead?
I'm happy. I'm happy to take the lead on that. So this was also sort of teased last week. I wasn't kidding. I sort of did a little bait and switch last week, but last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever we're dropping these, I said that I had a 12%er from Evil Twin, and that's what I have. Also,
Sponsored pour.
yes, another sponsored
Oh, wow.
pour from the
Shocking.
provider. This is it's a classic Evil Twin with a twist, but I'm not sure what the twist is. It is the Christmas Eve at a New York City hotel room
Oh,
Royal Suite Edition.
Oh, interesting.
hot.
It is
that would have been more appropriate for episode 69 and just throwing that out
Hello.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, but this is
Yeah.
what we have, and I'm
there.
so.
It's true.
And sometimes 69 is worth the wait. For 70. I mean, maybe there's like maybe we should, rather than call this episode 70, we should call it 69 plus and have people decide what that means.
Yes.
But yeah, this
Oh,
is
God.
an imperial stout, 12%
Oh,
with
okay.
marshmallow, coconut, vanilla, and cacao nibs.
got it
Holy
all.
moly.
The holy.
We know how the Evil Twins
quadfecta.
love. Yeah, they love their pastries there.
They're so evil.
Nice
Such
crack
total
on
evil.
that
Let's take a
can.
look here.
Okay, what do we got? Oh boy.
There we are.
I mean,
Dark like a mouth out.
yeah. Very gentle head building, but lovely. Mhm.
Chocolatey, caramely.
Mhm. I can smell it through the screen. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah. Well, it's easier to do from
Marshmallowy.
Brooklyn than from, and with a little hole in the middle there.
Right on.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Good luck.
All right.
So I'm going to try to bring as many new breweries as I can, and they've got a new brewery this week. Great! I
Ooh.
love the name of this brewery. They're out of San Luis Obispo. I used to think it was
Oh.
San Luis Obispo, but San Luis Obispo. Great can art as well.
Oh,
This
it's
brewery is
like a
called-
monk. Is it monk's
They do,
roast?
Yeah.
they do some freaky can art.
That's fantastic.
Dark, and the name of the brewery is There Does Not Exist.
Oh God.
There.
All right.
THERE?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a statement.
Okay.
There does not exist.
There.
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 And this is called the Mitt Pills. Mitt Pills. And it is, yes, a Pilsner. 5.2% alcohol. Mitt Pills. MITT. So I'm not sure what that means.
Like oven
But-
mitts, like crabs.
Yeah, maybe-
with oven mitts.
yeah.
Okay.
That's how it's spelled. It's jumping out of the can, which is nice. And love that can art. Oh man.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Oh, this is a nice
Oh, that's-
pour. Get it out from the cameras.
yeah,
that's
that's
a good
gorgeous.
still
Oh, my
shot.
goodness.
Strike a pose. Got
It's
a
a
nice
light. It's a nice light
light-
color. Is how I can't tell the clarity though from here.
nice straw color. It's got some slight haziness to it. A little bit of
Okay.
an unfiltered look for a pills like this, but love it. There does not exist. Mitt Pills.
Excellent.
Nice brewery. I've had a few of their beers. Oh, so cheers, gents.
Cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Cheers, Beer Avengers.
Happy New Year, as we like to say in the new year.
Happy
Yes.
New Year. Happy New Beer. Ooh, that's very nice.
Mm. Mm.
That's very
Ooh.
nice.
Yeah.
It's crisp as F. As
Crisp as
the
F?
captain likes me to say.
Yes.
That's my favorite thing that you say.
Crisp AF.
Crisp AF.
He means crisp as fuck, by the way. Since we
For
we mentioned
the
before,
kids
we
at
need to
home.
get our. Yes, that we have the mature thing for a reason. We're
For
not
the-
going to
For
censor.
the, for
He
the
just
kids
likes
at
how
home that
F
are still
sounds.
Googling 69. Actually,
Well,
this
what is
really
it?
is. This really
Go
is
for it.
nice. It is super crisp. It's
Mm.
got great, nice malty flavor up front and a
Oh.
sweet, bitter finish. I mean, it's like a perfect pills. There does not exist. They're doing good stuff down there, and they make nice lagers. And I had a black IPA from them recently. They do good stuff, and that's
Now,
fairly local to Fresno.
did you visit, or are they distributing? Is that how you got this one?
No, I got it in the Frez, and I did mention at the top of the
Okay.
show that I'm in Walnut Creek, and that is true. But
Okay.
I am not currently. I have not moved. I'm here with my mother-in-law in Walnut Creek, where she lives, and we are currently under this crazy storm that's supposed to be happening in
Yeah.
Atmospheric River.
Yeah, I
The
was going to
second
ask.
one in a week.
Because I thought that like over the holidays, San Francisco just washed out, didn't they? I saw
Yeah,
there was
there's
like
a lot of flooding.
more water there than had been. Yeah, are you guys doing okay? Do you
Yeah,
have
we're fine
lights and power, and you can drive a car on a
so
street?
far. I mean, you'll know if the power
Okay.
goes out.
Fair enough. That's the nice thing about doing this over the internet is that when everything goes crashing down around us, we know.
Anyway, I just gave my description real quick, so I mean, please, gents, how are we doing on these?
You know, it's funny because well, I
Other
just
beers.
I still atmospheric river. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we should
Yeah.
discuss that.
I have not heard. You see, the funny thing is, I got a new. I got myself a new 4K Blu-ray player for Christmas. So I have just been seeing. I wonder how this one looks. I wonder how this one looks. And I've just been missing out on some of the news apparently, and I totally missed the boat, pun intended, on the atmospheric
Hey.
river.
It's funny because you think that meteorologists are just like, what should we call it? And they're making up new words, but it's a thing, and the
Huh.
idea is that it moves in the sky. There's so much water that it moves like a river in the clouds, and when it comes over
wow.
the land, because it's over the Pacific right now, and it's coming in, we might have gusts as much as 50 miles an hour in some areas today. So
Oh wow.
it's kind of like preparing for a blizzard. Like I went out and bought food and got supplies
And beer.
and beer.
Now,
Yeah, I got
do-
plenty of beer. Yeah.
When Californians prepare for a natural disaster, do they do the New York thing of just buying booze? Or do they actually get food?
No, well, I know there's a lot of areas where the shelves are empty in the stores
Okay.
because of this, and it's supposed to go on for a couple days too. So
Oof.
That
gotta keep
observation
an eye
that
on
the
my car.
that observation that meteorologists are making things up. I had also heard recently when someone referred to as the whole bomb cyclone thing.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
I've definitely heard that one before.
Yeah, like 3 years ago for me, anyway.
Okay, yeah, I haven't heard it in a long time, but it wasn't new to me. Although one of
It's
my
okay.
favorite
It's-
ones.
We're from the
It's a
Midwest,
retro
and
term.
so maybe might have more
my
bomb
favorite,
cyclones there.
but yeah, you're right. They have all these things in their. You know, I guess if you go to meteorology school, these are the things you have to know to ace that test. My favorite one still has got to be though Haboob.
That's new to me.
Who is she?
Kids that are looking up 69 and
It's
And AF.
I brought that up and I didn't know it was.
Haboob.
I just remember I learned it first from Rachel Maddow.
Oh, okay.
It
Okay,
was because
so-
she didn't. Yeah,
I've got it. So a haboob is, according to Wikipedia, because I'm one of the kids who's googling these things.
yeah.
A haboob is a type of intense dust storm carried by an atmospheric
Oh.
gravity current known as a weather front. Haboobs occur regularly in dryland areas around the world, and yes, in North America they do happen, but usually it's by the collapse of a thunderstorm.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
welcome.
it's
An atmospheric river is a narrow corridor or filament of concentrated moisture in the atmosphere. There you go.
and in New York it was 60 degrees today.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it's all topsy turvy.
Yes. just like the Gilbert and
Captain-
Sullivan musicals.
But
Oh
Captain,
yeah,
how was your
yeah.
beer? How was your beer? That's
Back
why
to
we're
the
actually
beer.
here, not to discuss
That's right.
a weird meteorological phenomenon.
You know, we actually had a similar thing. It happened. You know, this thing is like we're like, oh, we're here about beer, and so they went out. They were going on weather for about 15 minutes. Okay, so this this Christmas Eve beer, it is. You know, I've gone on at length about Evil Twin really staying in the deep end of the pastry pool. But this is and this is not far from that. However, it's really solid. It's got a wonderful, great chocolatey flavor. It is definitely is a sweet pastry stout, but they do it very well. And I'm really enjoying this one. But it definitely has that, like, you know, we've talked about crushing versus sipping. This is a very sipping, you know, full bodied, not necessarily boozy. The sugar is sort of masking any of that, but it's delicious. It's a lovely dessert meal practically because of it.
Oh, a meal. Well, you know, I mean,
Well, it is
and
because
also
they call it.
Go ahead.
They call it. I mean, they call it like a dessert beer, but there's so many calories. It's probably as many as you would have in a meal.
Well, I do need to do a percentage check with you because last week you were really just dragging us down with that 5%er.
12%. This is 12%.
Yeah, we're back, baby.
Goodness. Stand.
I hope I didn't cause a heart murmur or something in you. You know, I don't know if those things spontaneously happen, but yeah, you don't need to Google that one.
You caused a haboob.
I caused an internal a habooba one, habir haboob. I don't know. A habunder. Yeah, I don't know.
We're gonna fix that one.
Anyway, let's find out about your beer.
Yes, well, I do want to call it Vosburg Brewing because we did get it teased by the provider last week, and actually, I did a little digging. She is 100% correct. It is the brewery is currently an offshoot of one of the brewers from
Gun Hill.
Gun Hill, which is of course one that we love, and it does say on the can that it is brewed for Vosburg at Gun Hill Brewing in the Bronx. However, Vosburg Brewing is on a 182-year-old family farm, so it goes all the way back to the Dutch times. And the building that they have up there in 2015 was transformed into a farm brewery when they became the very first home of our dear friends Sloop Brewing Company.
You Sloop.
So
there it is.
You see, you might have heard of them. But the other thing is, if you take a look at their logo, which is adorable, it is a tree with an apple on it. And one of the things that they have is that they're part of this, like, they've got this, old historic home. They've got a beautiful flower and hop field, and we all love a hop field. And they are also part of a working apple farm in, I believe it's pronounced Elizaville. I hope I'm saying that right, New York.
Yeah.
So super cute. Big fan, would totally visit when they reopen in a couple weeks at the end of January. Maybe by the time you're hearing this, they'll be reopened. But this is one of the more complex IPAs I've had in a while. It's a really classic New England style IPA, way more floral than the one I had last week, which had a lot more of that like American piney feel. But it's the kind of thing where I had a series of different waves of flavor that wafted over me and almost no bitterness at the end. So super drinkable, really going back to like what I imagine the like early days of Sloop might have been, and just creative and interesting. And so delighted to be supporting, a small brewery that is hanging out with another brewery that I love that's in the 5 boroughs, just these guys a little further out. So I don't know, maybe we go apple picking there and also drink some beer and also get hops from the hop farm and like pick flowers. I feel like
sounds
this
like
is
a full weekend.
Adventure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But speaking of weekends, go ahead.
I'm trying to find the origin of "There Does Not Exist," and it doesn't exist.
And so I guess that's proof of proof of the thesis.
They got a very cool logo for their hat, though. It's just like an E. Oh yeah. So you can see this. I love this logo.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
E with a line through it. So the E doesn't exist.
Nope.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird what they're doing, but they make really good beer.
Cool.
So this is to have a Pils that's just, they're calling it a German Pilsner, and it's just right on. And they're using the proper terminology, Pils meaning German as opposed to Pilsner, which would be Czech.
Correct.
Right. I always forget. Well, sometimes I hear it. Sometimes it's the difference is whether it's Pilsner or Pilsener. Like Pilsener.
This is
Is-
one of
did
the
we have
better
that right?
American pills that I've had. Look at that lacing too.
Yeah, it is.
It's just
That's
right
a
on.
beautiful. Yeah.
It's hitting all the points. If
But
it was
I
a
think
Pilsner competition, this would be very
Yeah.
highly ranked.
did I read that right though? If it's Pilsener, that's the Czech version, and Pilsner, there's an extra e in there for the Czech version as opposed to the German. I think that's the difference.
You make a good point.
So you haven't read that as well, but it sounds so well.
No.
That's no.
I think
So
that they're
I-
both associated with Czech, and then when people use the word pills to say
Yeah.
that means it's a German. That's an old
Ah,
school
okay.
thing, though. It's like it's not really a modern thing, but they are using it here.
Sounds right.
Anyway,
Yeah.
This feels
how's
like
your
stout
day
porter.
going?
Well, you talked about weekends, and we have just gotten through a holiday season, and holidays we
That's
had
true.
a little get together. We had the first beers, which I know some of you may, and I'm sure they have to talk more about. But how was everyone's holiday? Besides being wet in Huck's case.
Well, lovely. I actually I flew across the country because I avoided on the Christmas Eve or the days preceding it. There was this huge bomb cyclone, right? Buffalo got buried in
Yep.
3 feet of snow, and the Midwest got pummeled. We flew to Dallas. We flew from Dallas to Boston, and it worked out fine. So we made it all the way to Cape Cod and had a lovely Cape Cod Christmas. And my brother-in-law, that's his beer venture name, the brother-in-law, he managed to get some nice Trilliums
Ooh.
from Boston. Because we've been living the treehouse life, and we also did that too because Treehouse has a Cape Cod spot. So but he got a bunch of Trilliums, including the daily serving, which is the fruited Berliner Weisses they make. And,
Right.
we had a couple of them. One I believe was a boysenberry, and then another one was a mixed fruit, and so they were delightful. I had quite a few beers on Christmas Day. In addition to on Christmas Eve, went to my Aunt Bernie's Italian Christmas Eve, which we hadn't gone till
Yes.
we hadn't gone since 2018. So
Yeah, you
mentioned.
mentioned that one
wow.
last time. Yeah.
So we were very
how was
pleased.
it? Yeah.
It was wonderful. We had such. It was one of those. When you have moments in life where you're just like, I don't want this to end. The good time you're having. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like we had to drive to the Cape, which is about an
Right.
hour and a half drive, or almost 2 hour drive to from Worcester, Central Mass. And I was like, oh, I really don't want this to end. We were having such a nice time. So it was really wonderful. And my cousin, who was a beer venger as well.
Mm-hmm.
His name is This Brewery Kills Fascists, I believe. This Brewery Kills Fascists. Is that what we named him? It was something like that.
I'll have to look it up. It's got it in
We'll
the
have
database.
to look at the notes. We'll have to look at the notes.
Yeah.
But he brought his homebrew.
Oh,
And
fun.
he homebrewed a West Coast style IPA as well as a Doppelbock, and they were both just great.
He has a
Two
very
growlers.
sophisticated setup. Yeah.
Oh man, they were delicious. And I had brought some beer from Redemption Rock in Worcester, and I was like, forget Redemption Rock. I mean, they're great, but we had these great growlers. And we had the shrimp, and I fried calamari, deep fried calamari. And,
Oh my gosh.
and then we made pizza, and there was pasta, and there was the bacala, which is the salted cod.
Mhm.
So wonderful Christmas Eve with the homebrewed beer, and we had a great Christmas Day with the Trillium and Treehouse. So I mean, I can't, from a beer perspective, I mean, it was really, really wonderful. And I hadn't been home since July, so it was good to be able to be with everyone because it is as much as like airplane travel is convenient. It is
Yes.
3,000 miles.
Yeah.
between
Oh
the
yeah.
coasts.
My goodness.
So it was great to be there with family and friends. It was honestly everything we did worked out, and everything we planned. It was like one of those things. Like one little thing could go wrong. Actually, one thing did go wrong. We went to Dallas.
Oh.
We flew to Dallas from Fresno, and
Mhm.
in Dallas, they loaded the plane to Boston, and so they loaded the plane. Everybody got on,
Mhm.
and the pilot, while we were on the gangplank, he kind of pokes his head out and looks at something on the side of the plane. He's like, yeah,
That's never a good sound.
no, I'm going to check on that. We get on the plane. I went to
God.
sleep because I was tired, and we got up early. So I was like,
Yeah.
oh no, it was basically it was the middle of the night for our brains. It was morning in Dallas, but we had done an overnight, and so I fell asleep on the plane. I probably slept a good half hour, maybe even 40 minutes, and then the announcement comes over. It's like, okay, folks, we're not going to use this plane.
Oh no.
There was a gremlin on the
Everybody
wing.
off. There's a gremlin on the wing. Like everybody had to get off. To their credit, this was American Airlines. They got us to another gate, and we got another plane. We were 2 hours late into Boston, but considering all the storm issues that could have affected us, and then we got a rental car, and they took I did Hertz Gold, right? So you just get to your car, sir. Yep. And I get to the place where you go to the car, and it says C desk. Instead of where my spot is, I'm like, okay, we see desk. Had to wait a minute, and then the woman's like, oh, we're gonna upgrade you here. We're gonna take this SUV. Like, oh, okay, it's a Chevy Trax. And I'm like, okay, fine. And we get into it, and it reeks of marijuana, like huge pot smell in the car. Well, the seats are down. The cup holders are filthy. The outside of the car is filthy. So that was a bit of a letdown. But otherwise, everything was great. Everything was cool. It was a great holiday with family. And I will now turn the floor back over to you, one of the other gentlemen, to tell us. I yield my time to the gentleman from Ohio.
Well, that was not a filibuster. That was a wonderful story.
Yeah, I thought that was lovely.
Oh, the gentleman from Ohio. Well, my dad's not here, but.
Well, you were speaking with the gentleman from Ohio during the holidays, if I recall. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You guys had a whole podcast, or you did.
It was sort of like a little bonus thing. Yeah, it was on Instagram Live. I went putting up there, and I was putting on YouTube. To go back a little further, just about how my holidays work, because you talked about the weather a little bit, and anyone who watched that heard me talk about the weather there. But I feel like I want to just add a couple more details of that. On December 23rd here, it started to get down well below zero and below 0 Celsius, and didn't get not much above it for a while. And there was a delayed opening when I went to work on Friday. And on Saturday, Christmas Eve day, at my job, it was closed, but there was no information my usual channels it's supposed to go to. I'm going into work. And so I should have never had to go into work, but no one told me. So I went into work and I came home. And so now it's I was relieved I didn't have to work in that weather, but I was also, I was annoyed that I had to go down, but in any case, so I find myself home at 11 o'clock. So as many Christmas Eve traditions are for many people across the heartland and everywhere else, I sat down in my warm apartment and I turned on a 3.5 hour movie about a Belgian widow, single mother / sex worker, and watched that for 3.5 hours. So it's the movie called I can't remember the full title of it. It's called Jeanne Dielman, and then Her Address. It just won the award for Sight and Sound's best movie ever. And so that very traditional Christmas Eve movie, I'm sure. Yes. And that was nice. But because I have the day off from that, I got a few extra days off from work for the holidays, which I often work for the holidays. So some of that. But the thing I've been doing for the last couple of years to celebrate Christmas is that the company we work for, again, not a sponsor, but they're a friend of the show, and you've heard many of them on here, is Bruvana. And they have their 12 beers of Christmas, and so every night they do it. They have a live stream where you open up the beer and they talk about it. They have the brewers on the show, except they don't do it on Christmas Day. So I decided to just get my dad on Zoom, and we recorded all of this. It's on, like I said, it's on YouTube. It's on our YouTube channel and on Instagram Live or on Reels, I guess is what it is. Anyway, and so we just sat there and we opened the beer, and then Belgian Babe came up and showed up, and then Beer Wonder and Triple Always a Triple had a nice little recorded message we threw on there as well. So it was a wonderful. If you want to check that out on our YouTube channel, by the time you hear this, I don't know how. If you want to get back into the Christmas spirit, that might be a good way to do it. It's about 25 minutes long, but we had a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
And throughout that, though, starting on the second night, we did a different beer every night, showed up for the live stream. And on the Oh, my math is getting bad here. What night would the 31st be? So 25, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh. So this on the seventh
Saturday.
day, on the seventh day of Christmas,
My true love gave to
Hophead
me.
Huck and myself and MC Save Her and
yeah.
Original Bitter Kid
Yeah.
all got together on the live stream to talk about a wonderful beer and play a wonderful little game show thing. And wasn't that fun, Huck?
It was very fun. And you know why it was so much fun for me? Because I won, baby.
That's
I
right.
was a
Of
winner.
course you did.
And the rest of us were losers.
It's a
I
great
like-
way
I
to
thought-
end
I'm
2022.
trying to channel Jack Black when I do that. Who,
Yeah.
baby? Me, baby. That's who. Me.
That's right, baby. Baby. Just say baby for another. Oh,
Yeah, baby.
but
fuck yeah, my dude.
oh, fuck yeah,
Oh,
fuck yeah.
yeah, my dude.
My
It was a fun time. It was really,
It
actually
was.
was a lot of fun, and it was nice to play with MC. I knew we were. I was expecting somebody named Beer Wonder, but I don't know what happened there.
Apparently, he had some
Ah,
kind of a
see-
fancy dinner party to go to.
I know. I had
Mr.
the
Fancy.
times wrong. I had the times wrong. So it's my own darn fault. But I missed you guys. I was thinking about you guys. Not drinking beer, drinking very, very, very hefty champagne cocktails. But continue.
Oh, nice.
I
We
know.
were. That was where the idea of the honorary beer vendor was like, no.
Oh yeah, we got to talk about that. I think
There's
we're
Oh
no
yeah,
such
we
thing.
do need to be.
yeah.
That's very clear. We should be clear on
I-
that.
I'm glad you
Captain,
mentioned that, Huck.
The soapbox, please.
When,
the
you,
soapbox,
when you're a
please.
jet, you're a jet all the way.
Yes.
Well, yes. No, there's no honorary jets, and it's the same thing with the beer
No.
vendors. Yeah, this actually happened with Father Brownstout, where he was at some point calling himself an honorary beer venger.
Yes.
And we got on the live stream. Actually, was not in our before we were setting up for our tech check. MC Saver described herself as an honorary beer venger. Like, no, there is no. It's not. There's no. You're either a beer venger or you're not. You're a beer venger. There's no.
Yeah.
I mean, even actually, all of you listening right now, we consider you beer vengers. There's no honorary part about it, but especially if you've actually sat here with us, put up with us for however long we made you do this, and hopefully
Drunk
hopefully
with
some of you had
us.
a good time. Yes, we're all beer vengers, and you're a
Yeah.
beer venger, and no, you don't need to downgrade your title. You're not like someone who became a high school dropout who became famous and got to give a speech at a university, so now they're Bill Cosby. No, actually, I don't know about his education
Oh.
before that. I don't want
Oh
to
my
disparage Bill
God.
Cosby. Well,
No,
because.
oof.
Well, no, he's the guy. Aside from all the rape, no, because he wanted
Look
to
that
ask
up, kids.
when he became famous. He started getting these honorary doctorates, and so
Correct.
Yeah,
from,
that's-
from
that's what they
and that
do,
is the
right,
only
yeah.
reason when if you still feel okay watching the Cosby Show, he's listed as Dr. William H. Cosby.
Right.
But you don't. This is not an honorary system. If you're a beer venger, you're a beer venger. And I'm sorry
Yeah,
I took
that's
it
very
to
true.
that we all need a drink now. We are
We
having a
are-
drink, so,
we-
yeah.
We are earning our explicit title this evening. I'm very proud of
Fuck
us.
yeah, we are.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys
Fuck
done
yeah,
beer
my
fest.
dude.
There we go. Very sexual. Well, did you? I mean, so and well, it sounds like you had a great holiday. I just want to check in on Father Brownstout. Did he have a good holiday as well?
Oh yeah, he's doing great. That's the wonderful thing about, aside from the one evening when he and I did our thing that we recorded on YouTube.
Right.
He's like, the way it works with the 12 Beers of Christmas is they have a live stream every night. So I've been seeing him in the chat for that.
Oh, nice.
Obviously, I was a guest on New Year's Eve, but on all the other nights, I was there, and I'd see. So when he was there, I will see him in the chat. And what got really confusing was at some point there's another Glenn from Iowa. Oh yes,
Oh, that's
I've just
confusing.
revealed my. After last week, you all know my real name. Many of you do already. Probably all of you do. Sarah. That's our fault for having that on the screen. But yes. So, but weirdly enough, on there I was using my Captain Porter Brown Stout, so there were only two Glens, but it was still, I got confused. Occasionally, I would see Glenn from Iowa say something that I did, like, "Why did you say that, Dad?" And he said, "I didn't say it." So it was Glenn from Iowa. But yeah, I had some really interesting beers over the course of those those 12 nights. In fact, I'm so dedicated to this podcast that this is the only night so far that I am officially missing the live stream. So maybe in a few
Well,
moments I will go get beer 11 and have it here for my second pour.
look at that. Well, the good news is you can always watch the replay on YouTube.
Well, that's true.
Yep. So if you need to get that communal experience, it'll be well, we'll have to find out when you open it, we'll have to find out what the 11th beer is.
Absolutely. Now, I will say, I know that the reason you and Triple Always a Triple had to send in that recorded message was because you had your own family holiday tradition that night. So tell us about that and about anything else you want to tell us about your holiday.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily call it a family tradition, but so I come from one of those blended families where my father grew up Catholic and my mother grew up Jewish. They both gave it all up, but we kept the cultural parts that are fun. And so, because my sister and I now both live in Gotham, both in the County of Kings now, finally, which is exciting. The folks decided that they wanted to come and visit us here in the city, so we had a New York City-esque Christmas with them. And
cool.
with that blended tradition, my folks decided that for Christmas Day they wanted to go out and get Chinese food. So we had Chinese right around the time that you and Father Brownstedt were recording. But you probably heard the little message from a Triple Always a Triple, and we did crack open a delirium just to, come full circle around all of that. And we had
it wasn't a Noel, was it?
It was not a Noel. It was just a standard delirium tremens.
Right.
Yeah, it wasn't the Noel. Or no, actually, I think it was the dark. It was the dark one, the nocturne.
That's right, the Nocturnum, the one I had, the one I had on our part 2 of the Belgium experience.
Yes,
I still have
absolutely.
2 reds in my fridge.
See, it's always the good. Well, and I was wearing my my elephant socks that evening, so it really all just worked out.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Nice.
But so we had a really nice time. Triple Always a Triple and I are the only major beer drinkers in the family, so we didn't do a lot of beer drinking. But there was a if you will, a Christmas miracle in the Triple Wonder household, in that my parents are big dog lovers, and unfortunately this past year they lost one of the 2 golden retrievers that are family to us. And now, Huck, I know that losing a dog is hard, yeah. And we've had a tradition of naming animals after things you can eat or drink.
Is that right?
Just because, yeah, we've had a cat named Demitas. We had a hot toddy. We had a cappuccino. We had a Kugel, who was a golden retriever.
Kugel, yeah.
Yep. Because fluffy and reddish. And
what was the dog that passed away? That was
his name was Paprika, but we called him Rika.
Oh,
so a spice.
Raise a glass to the.
Raise a glass to Rika. Yeah, we still have Cayenne.
Rika.
Yes, we still have Cayenne, who is a spicy redhead, which makes sense. But there has been a new addition to the Triple Wonder household in the far off lands of Minnesota. My parents got a new dog, and it is a shorter dog, a smaller, like a little miniature golden, but really red, kind of orangey yellow in color, and continuing with the tradition that our family has of naming animals after things that one might eat or drink. And given the wavy, almost frothy nature of this dog's coat, it seems only natural that the newest, one of the newest, because I know you have a new 4-legged beer venger, Huck, as well. But one of the newest 4-legged beer vengers we have has been christened Triple.
Perfect.
I should have seen that coming.
Yeah,
I know, it's how it works. So I've only seen pictures of Triple. I've not FaceTimed with him yet. But he is getting used to his new surroundings. It's apparently very delightful, as I see him sticking his nose through lots of baby gates and things like that as he figures out his life. But it's exciting to have another 4-legged beer venger, and of course one named after a beer. So.
Yeah, like you said, we got a new cider girl, and I have a new dog. His name is Teddy, or Ted, and we both fell in love with the dog very quickly. Mm-hmm. And right now, I'm kind of in a I'm mad at him
Oh, okay. What did he do?
because he kind of broke my heart a little bit. He broke away from the leash. It was me. I dropped the leash and he ran away. He's back. We found him, but
Okay.
when it's kind of like when I don't know if you guys experienced this, when you have a crush on someone or you love someone, you think they love you back and they act like it. They act like they love you.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, this is it. This is love. And then they turn around and run away
Yeah.
on you.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not happy with this. The honeymoon is over.
Well, Huck,
Yeah.
I want to talk you down a little if I can. Is it like that reaction of the honeymoon is over is absolutely acceptable with a human being?
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
Teddy's a dog. Everything is
see,
forgivable.
That's
It's
what
gotta
people are
be.
telling.
It's got to
Okay.
be.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. So it's a dog, right? I've heard that. People have told me that. So at the same level, then I can be like, it's a dog.
Well, you
Like,
can.
I'm not going to be in love anymore.
But the thing is, you have that choice, and the dog doesn't have that choice. And so, and so, if I don't know. It's a lot to ponder there. I know.
You're right. He doesn't have that choice.
Your beer has made us all very philosophical tonight, I think.
There does not exist.
There does
It's a
not
dog.
exist.
So at the same time, I could be like, well, I'll have a relationship with him, but I'm not going to be in love with him anymore.
Oh, sure. I mean,
You're
yes.
just going to be
that's
friends?
it.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're just
No, we'll
friends?
be like friends with benefits. We can cuddle.
I guess I'm just going to
Yes,
say,
I'm
if you choose to bring a dog into
I'm
your
gay
home,
with my dog. It's true.
No. This is what I'm saying. If you choose to bring a dog into your home, that dog absolutely deserves unconditional love from you.
Fine.
And
Because
treats.
that
I mean,
dog. Yeah, go ahead.
mostly treats. Like, I'm going to say, yes, you brought the dog into here, but also like treats, I think, are the most important part. And I think
Yeah.
treats can lead to love. Yes.
I don't actually agree with that, Captain.
Oh,
I'm trying
okay.
to think of
Okay.
your name. We bring him into a home. We're gonna feed him. We're gonna make sure that he is able to get all his veterinary needs, and that he's cared for and brushed and washed, and his teeth are clean and all that stuff. I don't necessarily need to love him unconditionally.
I mean,
If
okay.
I care for him,
Well, you're right.
as
You're
a
right.
dog owner.
But won't you feel better if you choose to love him unconditionally?
We'll see. I'm away from him right now. We're taking some time.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
It's because ultimately the dog is going to be a dog, and you have a little more control over your capacity for love.
But like I say, because he's just a dog, let's say,
Yeah.
he doesn't need that from me.
Well, he doesn't need your internal
love.
emotional thing, right? Your dog only needs you to behave ethically, but
And I will
think
do
I need-
that.
I
I
need to
state
go
on the
rework.
record that I will behave ethically.
Speaking of
I believe you will.
capacity, speaking of capacities,
I love where this conversation has gone.
We're really, it's gotten deep.
I know.
y'all. It's gotten deep.
I mentioned a little while
I like
ago
when we get deep.
that I'm not
Yeah.
watching the live stream for 12 Beers of Christmas tonight, so I am now going to open beer number 11 that I got there. This is
Oh
good
my gosh!
call.
Right
this is
here
really-
on our little beer cast.
This is really fucking amazing can art. It reminds me a little of the Ralph Steadman stuff that you see with the Flying Dog, except it's black
Oh, yeah.
instead of lighter. And this
Ooh.
is from a brewery called Resident Culture.
Yes.
I can't quite see where they're from, but the name of the beer, it's an IPA, which I know is unusual for me, but it's
Good
what I
choice.
have, and it's called Lightning Drops.
Oh my god, that is
Isn't
super cool.
Isn't it
can art.
fantastic?
That is so cool.
Lightning Drops IPA. It's a 6.5%, but it's a nice 16-ounce can. Honestly, my eyes, whatever. You can Google it if you want to, Beer Wonder, because you are now our you are official researcher. I think the last couple of
I know, I
episodes.
think Huck's got it. I think Huck's on this
All
one.
right.
New England style, Charlotte, North Carolina.
There you go.
Ooh, good town.
Let's take a look at the Lightning Drops.
Oh my
This
gosh.
is a flagship hazy IPA hopped with Citra, Mosaic, and Galaxy.
Oh, good stuff. It's
Oh, we're
hanging
getting
out
some
with me tonight.
transparency, but I can see the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that has to do with
It's
the.
not- It's not very hazy, it seems.
All
Or maybe
right,
it's
I think
more
I'm gonna have
greenish.
to,
I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
have to go right
Maybe.
over here, and I've got to. Let me see what I can do. I was about to change the camera, but we'll have this. I'll take a real picture of it at some other point. But there we
I
have it.
believe
But
in
the
us.
yeah, I got the same beer as well because I have the box. But
Oh, have you drank this one already?
no, I actually gave it to Uncle Ed.
Ah, good
With a
uncle.
very piney aroma, very nice nose.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Oh, that's delightful.
Oh,
Oh,
good, good.
There you go.
And
Well, I mean,
what's
I'm not-
interesting also.
I'm not anti IPA. I generally
No, you're
I,
definitely not.
the hazies I have a little more of a soft spot for than your hardcore West Coast ones.
Okay.
I've had some good West Coast ones, but if I'm inclined to not like an IPA, it's usually because it has that West Coast bitterness.
And of the 12 beers, this is the third hazy. We had the Equilibrium beer
Wow.
and the.
Yeah, only one stout the whole time. Ooh, ooh.
Well, they were probably packing this
We
box.
need
just
we need a
before stout
sound.
season.
We need a sound bite.
Yeah. Ooh.
Gut punch.
That's all right. I know there's a
and-
package. Go ahead.
The can itself is all black.
It's really
It's
cool.
beautiful.
Like you don't like the top, the bottom, everything is.
Yeah.
It's could it be more black? And the answer is no.
No, I
Oh, the
technically
bottom's
is
not
still
black.
Yeah.
Oh,
but
forget
honestly,
it.
but the top really works for it.
Top is
yeah.
Okay.
This reminds me of a couple things remind me of a couple of things because we're
Oh.
46 minutes and 3 to 4
Go
beers
on.
in each.
Go on.
I was clocking into something on Untapped recently, and they gave me an ad that could not be more targeted. It was
Oh,
a thing that
okay.
halftime beverage is doing, where they have like 12 big stouts. You order this thing, and the last I saw it, it was a pre-order deal, and it was going out sometime in January. I haven't committed to it yet because this is where the other thing I'm reminded of is, Huck, what you were saying, whenever you were saying it, is because I got the Tavor crate recently, and I have the two 12 beers of Christmas things.
Oh,
Right.
Because
okay.
I ordered one for myself, and then once I agreed to do the thing with you, they sent me another whole box. So I have like all the
Sent
Tabor
whole
stuff.
case.
I have
Wonder.
2 copies of the 12 beers thing, and I'm like, so much beer. I'm like, should I order more beer with all of this beer around? But the halftime is doing this 12 big stouts for like $150. So it still comes up to roughly like $12 a can. But at some point I might talk myself into buying it. I don't know.
All right.
We'll see where
That's
that
fair.
goes.
That's valid. Well, I wanted to mention one more thing from my holiday adventures because before the new year, I did some very important investigation and quality control because you know that's what I'm all about. We had
course.
the adventures that I had in Raleigh, North Carolina, and if you didn't follow those, you should check at the Beer Vengers on the Instagrams because that's where my research was documented.
Great pictures you took
but-
there, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I did meet up with Globe Hopper and Cider Cat.
Uh-huh.
We've had Globe Hopper on a few times, and Cider Cat is named but not on the podcast or on the Beercast.
Right,
and
right.
Yes. And
So I
wound
guess
up
we can
at,
have her on, but we may have to decide whether we need to give her a different name.
Correct.
But-
Yes, to analyze the situation.
Similar
so
situation
she's-
with Father Brown Stout. He was named before he got on here. So
Exactly. Yes. And technically, Triple Always a Triple was also named without being on the Beercast. So
that's true.
we've
We're
made some
we're
exceptions.
playing fast and loose with our guidelines,
I know.
and I
Yeah.
think we need to we should call them guidelines and not rules. They're guidelines.
Exactly. That's the way to go. But we did some investigation at Evil Twin Dumbo, which you know is always a standard bearer for me. We
Sure.
did want to make sure that they are up to par, and I will say they were doing a good job. I did have one beer there, and unfortunately, I had enough that I didn't write down the name of it. But it was an IPA that literally tastes like fresh squeezed orange juice.
Oof.
And I wasn't 100% sure how I felt about it, but the fact
Yeah.
that you could make a beer that literally tastes like someone took an orange and squeezed it into a glass is very impressive. Because
I think
that
we've
takes
had-
a lot of knowledge.
Yeah, I feel like we've had issues with that with Evil Twin going back to issues, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
descriptions, going
Yes.
all the way back to when Huck had the even more Hydra, way back
Oh,
in
I
like
remember that. Yes.
early 2021, I think.
Yep. 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 Yep.
And talking about how like so many of their like sour things they call sours
Mhm.
not only don't really have a sour profile, they taste more like fruit juice than beer.
Yes. Yes. Very true. Yeah, it is confusing um at times to be like, well, this is what is this, but
Yeah,
I was but I will say I was happy to see that in a like between Christmas and New Year's gap, when usually the
yeah,
tourists have overtaken my little chunk of the County of Kings,
yeah.
that they were doing a good business. It was primarily a local crowd. It
Uh
was a
huh.
lot of like people from the neighborhood who were continuing to support them, which is wonderful. And that they were being experimental. I also had a
Yeah.
nice like oat lager that was creamy and delicious from them, like consistently interesting things. But yeah, this one was a unique take on a juicy IPA because it literally
Yeah.
tasted like orange juice that had happened. So
Interesting.
yeah. Well, I'm curious, now that we are into the new year, do you have any new beers resolutions? Are there things you are excited about in the coming year
Well,
around beer?
as far as new beers resolution, I guess the only one I can immediately think of. You know what? I'm so glad you asked me that, Beer Wonder, because that was the one thing that I expected to be asked on the New Year's Eve Brews Less 12 Beers of Christmas that they didn't
Yes.
ask me, and I came prepared
Okay.
with some photographic like what I wanted to use, and we'll put this on the gram or whatever. But I do want to show briefly here. So
Okay.
you see, do you know what you're looking at right now?
I believe that is your beer fridge.
That is my beer fridge as it looks right now.
The
This is
captain's
the beer
cellar.
fridge fully stocked. It's a Captain Cellar. It almost feels like to call it that is maybe a little too much because it's
Mhm.
only been cellaring for like a few weeks. But yes,
Well,
this is my beer fridge that I just filled when I got that Tavor crate, and my new beers resolution is to empty it amongst friends and then fill it up again. So
ah,
hopefully we get
that's
to
a
do
good New
some
Year's
version of that.
resolution. Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
And yeah, so I've actually there were a number of those beers that I have had. Well, because I bought doubles of roughly a dozen or so of them, so I have those in my
Hmm.
other refrigerator. So I've been slowly trying some of those, and some of those are really really good. So I did also want to mention something you and I were talking about earlier, and I think
Oh
you've
yes,
actually had this experience as well. Is the new Six Point place in
yes. Oh
it's
yes,
what's the name of that area? What's the name of that little? It's kind of like it's a little market. Well, what's
yeah.
great about it is
City.
like it has like that whole like Essex Market thing, except they have their own
Mhm.
dedicated like they have their own full place in there, which is so much more than they've
Yes,
ever
yes.
had
It's I believe
before.
they call it City Point.
City Point, right?
Yeah, they
Uh,
refer to the area as City Point.
yeah,
Yep. And it's a great little spot.
and what's nice about it is that I mean it was I loved going to their place in Red Hook. It was very like unassuming and
Mhm.
delightful, but rather more temporary. This one is a full dedicated
Okay.
full restaurant, everything, and they have all of their
Yep.
partners well represented as well. So they have Six Point and Southern
Right.
Tier, and they also have Victory. They're like examples from all of them, and it's really quite wonderful.
Yeah, it's a cool little space.
Yeah, I will be
Absolutely.
back.
And I'm glad you had a chance to go there. Yeah. I love Essex Market not Essex Market. I'm sorry. Well, I love
City
Essex
Point,
Market.
yeah.
Yes. But I also really enjoy City Point because it is a lot of different, New York sort of establishments that have found their way there as well. So you can have a delicious 6 Point beer next to a Katz's sandwich, next to amazing Indian food and barbecue and Sichuan style Chinese at Han Dynasty, which is wonderful. It's just a very energetic and active space.
What's also
So big fan.
fascinating about that, just that building, that whole complex, you've got Six Point, and what's the name of the place
Yes.
you and I went to on St. Mark's that one time? Craft and Carry. Is that it?
Yes, Craft and Carry.
No,
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
when we were doing, yeah. So the one that is very similar to Good Beer, and now is sort of carrying the
Yes.
mantle for them since Good Beer, RIP, is closed. In fact, it was
Yes.
funny because when I
Feelings.
went in there, last time I was in Craft and Carry, I was there with a friend who had been with me to Good Beer before, and he asked, "Are you guys together?" Like, no, this is just a very similar vibe. But it's good that
Yep.
since Good Beer is gone, that Craft and Carry is there. Craft and Carry has a place in City Point as well.
Oh, okay.
Did you notice that when you were there?
I did not actually notice that, but clearly I need
So,
to
yeah.
go back. There's a Target there where I recycle plastic bags.
Yeah,
they take
it
plastic
was
bags
it was
back
it was
there.
pretty
So,
incredible
yeah.
being there because the first time I was there, I think, was back in 2016, and they'd
Hmm.
probably just opened that facility. I was going there for an industry screening of Fences,
Oh,
and there seemed to be very under construction at the time. And it's interesting going back 6 years later. I'm like, oh, okay, this place has filled out. And
Oh,
what's
yeah.
for like as far as beer goes, you have the 6 Point facility, you have Craft and Carry, and then if you go all the way up to the top of the building to the Alamo Draft House, there is a separate bar there called House of Wax that has a wonderful
Okay.
array of craft beers. And if you go see a movie at Alamo Draft House, they have great craft beers as well. So this is all under the same roof, which I think is pretty amazing.
Well, you can't screw it up. Then is what we're learning. So
Right. Yeah. And you mentioned you referred to the new dog as its own Christmas miracle, and
yes.
I actually to bring that all full circle, I had my own Christmas miracle that I didn't discover until New Year's Eve. Belgian Babe was in. Well, I mentioned that she showed up on the live stream. The thing we did for first beer of Christmas, but she was in Massachusetts for that, so she came back. We hung out New Year's Eve. She watched the thing we did while we were doing all of that. But I want to thank her, and I want to thank Dan McLaughlin at the Pony Bar. You all heard the story of those of you who are regular listeners. You heard our second half of our Belgian Germany story, and you heard about how I'm pretty sure I left my pony hoodie in the at a specific place in Germany. I tried to get in touch with the hotel. They wouldn't even respond to my email. So I don't know what's happening there. So I thought, oh, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. I guess this wonderful, precious thing to me. But between the Belgian Babe and Dan.
Oh my goodness. This is
There
a
we go.
massive moment. The hoodie has been returned. Oh my gosh.
Now,
look at that.
Dan didn't have quite my size in stock, so this one, the sleeves are a little long on me, but that's okay. That means I can get to my 1,000 beers and put enough weight and fill this whole thing out. But yes, I do have
hoodies are meant to be cuddly.
Yes, so I have a 2XL pony hoodie. So I really, really want to thank the Belgian Babe and Dan for making that happen.
Oh, well, that's delightful. I'm glad that has been reunited to you, excuse me. And that because that was a sad moment on our
I know. I almost felt shitty about bringing it up because I thought since I hadn't told any of you about it before we were recording it, I thought it was making everyone sad. So I'm glad there's a little bit of resolution to all of that.
Well, it ended with some joy. Well,
yeah.
I love that. Well, here's the thing: we're into a new year of beer, a new year of drinking. I think, I did want to just briefly mention. I know a lot of people, as we get into January, maybe trying this whole, dry January thing,
right?
Because I do have some people within my circle who have given it a shot, and like as Beer Vengers, we support you in all of that. Sure. And if drinking is a problem for you, we ask that you take those great precautions. But the other thing that I think you and I have both discovered is that there are some pretty wonderful non-alcoholic options out there.
Sure, and that's true.
In this time of potentially dry January, do you want to call out maybe a few favorites that you might have of non-alcoholic beers? I've got a couple in my back pocket, but I'd love to hear what your favorites are.
It's funny. All the ones I've had primarily were the ones from Athletic. Although lately I've done less and less of that. Mostly because I've gotten busier, so I don't have. Mostly, I was using them for our job when we were working at Unbox Experiences, and the more and more options we have to offer there now, I'm doing less and less beer and cheese events. So now I'm actually having
That's
fun
true,
bringing
yes.
it. But I feel that the ones I've had, I also had some really nice ones from, was Untitled Art. Do they have some nice ones? Does that sound right? Untitled Art has had some
Yeah,
really good ones. Although as far as like for like, I have a little harder time spending as much money on a beer as I would on a non-alcoholic beer. Just there's something feels a little bit
Yeah.
off about that, but they do some really nice work there. I feel like the best athletic ones I've had, generally speaking, have been their IPAs. I think they do those the best. I think the non-alcoholic
Yeah.
IPAs seem to be the best.
Yeah.
But for
I
those,
think their IPA is great. I think their Cerveza is also very good from Athletic. But
yeah,
there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in the non-alcoholic world. I did want to call out Brooklyn Breweries, which has an excellent non-alcoholic line, including
Okay.
a very good amber and an excellent IPA.
okay,
And Guinness, for this dry January, just launched their first non-alcoholic Guinness. And I'm pleased to say I gave it a shot, and it was pretty good.
all right, that's good to know. I may not be
Yeah.
rushing out and buying it, but I'm glad
those of
to
you who
know
like the Guinness.
that there are lots of options. And also for those of you who are not into dry January, this might air after it happens, but on January 14th, halfway through dry January, Gun Hill is having their annual barrel aged festival. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it to it this year or not, but I look forward to hearing all the stories from everyone who goes to that in defiance of dry January.
Yeah. Well, and everybody do you. If you want
Exactly.
to continue drinking in January, great. If you want to take a break, also totally fine. But there's great brewed options out there no matter what you're going after. And also fun events in January, which I found to be the depression month, that are happening in the beer world. So it's good to support our local breweries even during that time.
All right. You heard on the last episode when the provider told us that sometime in January they're starting up the beer and cheese pairings there at the Beer and Cheese Collective. So lots of options, however you want to roll.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I'm curious. Do we have additional business that we need to solve?
I mean, I don't think
in our
so.
time
Oh,
together?
this is funny to bury in this 2 weeks. I should have mentioned this last week. But who do you like in the World Cup this year? Because you mentioned on 2 episodes ago that the World Cup happens every year. Who do you like in the World Cup this year?
Yeah, I was a little drunk when I said that.
Oh yeah,
so-
it doesn't happen every year.
Awkward. No, it doesn't. It's not an annual situation. It's not like the
Oh.
World Series, which happens every year. No. Yeah.
How-
would
do you know how
definitely be a huck up.
Oh,
pretty sure
okay.
it's every
Well,
4.
it's all right. We're only a couple
Yeah.
episodes behind. It doesn't matter if we screw things up.
Exactly.
It just matters that we own it, that we're accountable for it when it happens.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what matters. I will say I did drink my way through the German World Cup back in 2006, so I should know better. But
There's
I
a
think I had few
specific
by that
German
point.
World Cup?
And
Wait a minute.
no, the one that was held in Germany.
Oh, okay. I was
The one that
confused
was
there. I
held
was
in
like,
Germany.
how the German World Cup just sounded like a contradiction
No, the
in
Germans,
terms.
they're not that special. They're not. I mean, they're special, but they're not that special.
Yeah.
But also, while you're bringing up the World Cup, R.I.P. Pele. We love you.
Oh
we
yes,
miss you.
absolutely.
So
And congratulations to Argentina. They won, right? Did they get that right?
yes,
Didn't Argentina win?
Yes, they did. That is correct.
Okay.
Argentina did win.
I just wanted to make sure
We're really good at sports here on the Beer Avenger. It's just everyone.
Well,
was
honestly,
super
we
good at
talked about
sports.
this before. If there's any year not to be big on it, like this would have been a good year to say fuck the World Cup, or at very least fuck FIFA.
Yeah. Well, I think
Congratulations
generally
to.
fuck FIFA, but
I
that's
mean,
a whole other discussion.
yeah. I mean, nothing against the Argentinian players. Congratulations, you did great. But
No,
FIFA
yeah.
is corrupt and horrible, and also what country was it played in? Oh, Qatar. Yeah, they can go fuck themselves too.
Qatar, yes.
Right? Yeah, Qatar can fuck themselves.
That's a whole other conversation. I think
and,
that's
so,
that's
yeah.
what we've all landed on.
I think that's fine.
Well,
So,
on that,
Hello.
Yeah, we're
I think we've
hello,
caught-
hey Huck. I
I
I'm
knew
glad.
I saw
I'm glad.
a wandering Huck in the distance.
I know, Huck. I'm glad you managed to recover yourself. He was totally speechless. When I showed my new pony hoodie. So he's finally managed to recover himself. So, but yeah,
It was amazing.
I
It
could-
really was beautiful.
I could see the emotion on your face. So I know you were moved.
I can't believe that you
but,
went to that many beers. Amazing. Congratulations.
We'll pretend that's how it happened.
You know
but
what?
sure.
I think so. I think you should keep in touch with us at The Beer Ventures on Instagram, Twitter. Email us at thebeerventures@gmail.com. Other stuff we should cover?
Nah, Huck, play us out.
10-4. Great to hang with you guys.
You too.
Always a pleasure.
Hope to see y'all soon. Thanks, Beer Vengers. Oh, with a beer Vengers, beer Vengers, beer Vengers. With a Beer Vengers.